Algebra 2 worksheet 13.7. I'm going to, in this video, look at number 29, card number 21, from all those review problems. And in 29, we're asked to use the division to find the roots. And in 29, we actually, based on the graph, there are 3 roots. You have 3 x-intercepts. And we already know 2 of them. They've given us 2 of them, positive 1, negative 1. So it says write in factored form and find all roots. It looks like that's 0, 0. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at this. I'm going to see if I can factor anything out first to make this just a tiny bit easier. So I'm going to take the x, since they have all x common, I'm going to take that x out first. So that's going to give me x to the 4th when I factor it plus x squared minus 2. So I've got the start of my factored form. So when it says factored form, they mean y equals, and we know we have the x in front, but now you're going to have a series of factors like that. We're going to get as many as we can. Now, based on the graph, we already know that it's x minus 1, positive 1. Now I'm going to check to get the rest. Excuse me. So now, let's say if I go with the minus 1, I make that an x plus 1. We know x plus 1 is a factor. We know x minus 1 is a factor. You can choose either one. You're going to try to divide one of those into this result here. So if you're using the boxes, it's going to be 4 across and 2 up and down. Now again, you can choose either one, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go with the x plus 1. Now at the bottom, I have to put this result, x to the 4th plus 0x to the 3rd, since there's no x to the 3rd term, plus the x squared plus 0x minus 2. Now if I'm doing this correctly, when I use division to find the roots, there should not be a remainder. So this should match negative 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and start filling this out. Remember, the x to the 4th, the first term goes automatically right there. Above that, x to the 3rd times x gives me the x to the 4th. This times 1 is x to the 3rd. This has to cancel the x to the 3rd, make it a 0. Negative x to the 3rd. Negative x squared, because that multiplies with x to give me negative x to the 3rd. Negative x squared times 1 is negative x squared. This plus negative x squared should give me positive 1x squared. 2x squared should work there. 2x should work here. Times x is x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And that works. So that's a real good first start. Now, this doesn't quite factor easily. So I've got to do the division again. This time it's 3 across. So this whole result, this answer is going to go down here. X to the 3rd minus x squared plus 2x minus 2. Now you're wondering, well, where do we get this from? And we go back to this. Remember, there are 2 roots, x plus 1, or 2 factors that we knew. X plus 1 from that negative 1 root, x minus 1 from the positive 1 root. We already used the x plus 1, so we'll now go ahead and use x minus 1. Now remember, if we do this correctly, this should match the ending, the negative 2. X to the 3rd goes right up here. X squared, negative x squared, 0, 0, because 0 times x is 0. 0 times negative 1, 0. Positive 2x plus 0 is 2x. Positive 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. That matches, no remainder, that's great. So now, my factored form, after the x minus 1, the one factor that's missing is this x squared plus 2. So there's my factored form. Now I can't really factor x squared plus 2, so I've got to leave it like that. Now it does say to find all roots. Now we've got 3 roots that are easy from the graph and easy from these first 3 factors. So the roots are 0 from that origin point, negative 1 from that negative 1, positive 1 from that one. But then we have this part. This does give us roots. Now to find those roots, remember the roots are where the x or the y value is 0. So now this factor is being put equal to 0. If I solve this for x, subtract 2 from both sides, x squared equals -2. Square root of both sides. And now, when I have that -2, remember you can't have the square root of a negative, so we take that negative out and make it an I. And that's a +2 inside now. And don't forget it's plus or minus. So those other two roots are actually going to be imaginary numbers. Plus or minus I square root 2. There is all the roots. There's the factored form. That's everything you have to do on card number 29.